In the history of movie making, very few sequels have done anything more than disappoint. And the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is the example that I'm going to use to illustrate where I feel that feature film creators go so wrong in terms of making follow-ups to successful Hollywood movies. Sure, many movies have destroyed their own artistic merit and credibility within poor quality sequels before and since A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 The Dream Master. But this was the film that for me completely destroyed what should have been the perfect ending to the Elm Street original trilogy, with the masterful execution of the burial and consecration of Freddy Krueger at the end of Dream Warriors. With the Elm Street franchise, it is a popular belief that the second movie, Freddy's Revenge, is where the series made its first serious misstep. And whilst not perfect and indeed breaking the rules set in place within the original movie by having the dream demon Freddy Krueger break out of the confines of dreams and is seen rampaging around a pool party in the real world, it maintained the core elements from the first film in that it is dark, psychologically disturbing, brutal and genuinely scary.
Welcome to a brand new nightmare.
Someone is coming back to Elm Street. He is not friendly. He is not patient.
Kill for me.
And he is not a welcome visitor.
No!
The first three movies in the Elm Street franchise maintained a dark, eerie and thought-provoking vibe that came to an abrupt and shuddering halt before the New Line Cinema Company logo at the beginning of the Dream Master had even disappeared from view and the appalling theme tune started playing. It was such a jarring move away from the dark, moody, avant-garde classical scores associated with the first three movies, and instead what we got was an awful 80s power ballad called Running From This Nightmare. It was instantly obvious that the whole tone of the series was now different. As I sat there in that movie theatre in Bradford in West Yorkshire, I still held out a vague sliver of hope that the visual tone of the movie would be taken back to a more grassroots vibe when the film started in earnest, but alas, my hopes were dashed. To illustrate where this movie went so wrong, you have to look at so many components that worked within the original trilogy of Elm Street films that preceded The Dream Master, and compare them side by side. Here are three short segments from the first three movies' opening scenes. think you'll agree the tone is dark, ominous, and everything from music to directorial style screams sinister, eerie, and unsettling. However, here is 20 seconds from the opening of the fourth movie, The Dream Master. I think it speaks for itself as to how much the tone had shifted in The Dream Master compared to that of the earlier movies, and instead of a sense of trepidation as to what was going to follow later in the movie, it provoked a sense of, oh my god, what the hell have they done with this franchise? And the only fear associated with what was going to follow in the next 1 hour and 39 minutes was one of fear as to how bad it was really going to get, and sadly it was worse than I could ever have imagined. To make the premise of these movies work, the audience needs to be as lost as the victims that Krueger stalks. In the first movie, we the audience were as clueless as the villain's prey that they were indeed asleep, and it's pretty clear to me that that was an essential ingredient in these films. With The Dream Master, we have a bizarre situation where everybody is fully aware that they are within a dream, both victim and audience alike. Everybody seems to know Freddy Krueger of old, and the completely surreal situation where people seemingly being in a normal everyday situation disturbingly melts away seamlessly into a dreamscape is sadly now a memory. This movie insults the intelligence of not only the original 3 movies with their dark and clever core mechanics, but also that of the audience. How did such a clever idea become this blatant, basic and designed for simpler minds to digest easily? Whereas once Freddy's victims were monitored, stalked and psychologically tortured with horrifically distorted fantasy/reality blurring events that ultimately led to their brutal murder, we're now confronted with a situation where Freddy is not in control of the dreamscape.
You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead.
Freddy is now front and centre with the camera following his pursuit of the person he wants to kill. Freddy searching for his victim within the dreamscape? This is a howling error that occurs very early on in this abomination of a movie. Where once he was 100% in control and stage managed every second of the horrific subconscious playground that he was directing, we're instead offered a generic movie slasher monster searching for his prey, and this lack of control breaks my belief in Freddy as a menacing and demonic entity.
Feeling better now?
Yeah, I guess so. What happened?
Sure, intellectual snobbery could be seen as an issue here, and I embrace the idea that all tastes need catering for, but when a beloved intellectual property is stripped of its intelligence and the lowest common denominator factors of that piece of art are extracted from an existing ongoing franchise to please a larger audience, it shows utter contempt for its roots and its core audience of the original film.
I want to draw some blood.
To take this appraisal of what I feel went wrong with the Elm Street franchise in 1988 with the release of The Dream Master any further would be self-indulgent and unnecessary, as it would be a case of rinse and repeat with a slightly different backdrop and increasingly absurd clips and comparisons from this once great movie series. Everything comes to an end and movies are not exempt from that reality. When a movie studio is no longer concerned with the quality of their product and instead is showing a fascination with the quantity of money they can make at the expense of artistic credibility, it is time to move on and make the decision to stop watching. I feel very strongly about the dilution of great ideas for the sake of maintaining the short life of an extremely bloated cash cow, and the contempt that these studios demonstrate for us the viewers in pumping out this kind of bile. Should these sequels have been made in the first place? I guess movies imitate life and vice versa to a large extent. We're relentlessly sold rubbish on every consumer level, so why wouldn't the movie industry follow suit?